Hi everyone, hope everybody is having a great day. Today I'm going to share with you my list of items that I like to include in a journal. If you would like to follow along with me, get your pen and paper and let's get started. Okay, I have a list that I kind of go by when I'm putting my journals together that kind of gives me a guideline of what I like to include in the journals. And so I'm going to go through that list and show you some examples of those things. Some of these I have done videos on, and some of them are going to be videos in the future. And after I finish going through the list, I'm actually going to show you one of those today. So I hope everybody has their paper and pencil ready, and we'll get started. The first thing I try to incorporate is some type of corner tuck. And I usually try to put one in each signature, and they can be different kinds. We've got these little corner ones that I did do in a video that are just the triangles that fit on the corner. And I should have grabbed a actual journal so I could show you how some of this stuff works. Let me see, I'll use my glue book again. Alright, so tear some pages off here. And those do not go in the trash, by the way. They are used. They go in my bin. Alright, so these I did do a video on, and they simply fit on the corner of your page like this. And then you can tuck something up under the corner on both the front and the back. So that's a really nice thing about these. This particular kind is because you can use both sides. And then I don't know how many of you watched my video where I made these tea bag ones, but they would also be a really good corner tuck. You would just glue here and here, and then you would have your tuck space here. You can also use, and I've got everything laid out here, and I won't be able to find it quickly. I thought I had it pretty well organized, but I guess not. You could also use part of your snippet roll. If you do snippet rolls, where is my part of a snippet roll that I had to show you? I do not know. I do not know where that went. I guess I'll run across it in a minute and we'll go back to it and show you. But you could use your snippet roll and you could put it up in the corner, and you could also use that as a top tuck, which is another one of the items that I try to include. So that one kind of has a dual purpose. And this could be a top tuck as well. So you've got several options when you mass make these things, that you can use them in different ways. Okay, the next item is pockets. And of course, you know, there's all kinds of pockets. There's just plain single pockets, and there's double pockets. But one of the ones that I try to use is a pocket that wraps around the page, and it looks like this. So basically you just take a piece of paper, fold it in like you're going to make a paper airplane, and then you fold it up this way, and then you fold it around. And when you do that, you can then put it on the edge of your page like this, and you have a pocket on this side, and you have a pocket on this side. So that's just one of the fancier ones. And then of course you just have the regular pockets, kind of like this one I did. It looks like a tag, but you can glue it on the page, and then it has the pocket here that things, you know, can be slid down in there. And this one's made out of a time card. But you can mount that, and that's a pocket. And then, of course, you could just do, you know, the regular pockets like this. So that's pockets. The next thing is envelopes. And I do, you know, sometimes I alter a regular envelope, or sometimes I will make a coin envelope. And that's going to be one of my future videos, is working just on envelopes. The other thing is altered paper clips, and I do not have any of those right now to show you, but that'll be an upcoming video as well, is how to make some different kinds of altered paper clips that you can use in your journal. We kind of talked about the top tucks already, and then I try to do some kind of flip page. I've got this one here that is a double flip, so it would mount like this on the page, and then it would flip out like this, and it would flip out like this. It has a pocket here, right there. It has a pocket here, and it has a pocket here. So I try to do at least one of those in a journal, just for, you know, a fancy little flip. But you could also do one that's just, you know, mounted on the page, something like this, and it would flip up this way. Or, you know, you can mount it over here, and it would flip this way. So, a side tuck. I try to do, if I've got, say, 3 or 4 signatures, in which I usually do in a journal, and I've used a top tuck and I've used a corner tuck, then in the last signature, I may do a side tuck. And we made these in the video the other day, which, you know, could very easily be a side tuck. You could tuck here. And as we were talking about, it could also, you know, be this way. Of course, the butterfly would be upside down, but it could also be a flip out. So that's an option for those. And I also do, here are some tags, of course. You know, I try to do a couple of specialty tags, which would be, you know, one of the bigger zipper tags, or the bigger, fancier tags. But then I also do just regular size tags to put in some of the pockets and spaces. And these are some that I did using just stencils and some texture paste to build the brick wall, and paper dolls. So that's just, you know, to slide in a pocket. So there's another one. So depending on what kind of journal you're making. But these are all things that I try to make ahead, and that way when I go to put a journal together, I already have a lot of these supplies done, and I just go through and pick what goes together. Because I always seem to work with similar colors. So usually I can go through and pick everything out that's going to work together. And the last thing, except for the one we're going to make, is some kind of dangle. And here's a couple of examples, and I think we did a video on these as well. This one is using the ATC coin, which is thicker. And I just put some little cute little dangly stuff on there. And then this one is just, I glued up 3 or 4 pieces of cardstock. And this one has a dangle on the top and the bottom. So that's those. And I believe that's it, except for belly bands. And belly bands is what we're going to do today. And I'm just going to show you a couple of examples of some belly bands. These are not my original ideas, but I saw them on Pinterest or something, and I've kind of adapted them for my use. So we'll go through those real quick, and I'll show you, you know, how to make them. So, these are for, I'll bring my book back here. These are for going this way. And I figure an 8.5 by 11 sheet of paper folded in half is about the biggest journal that I do. So these are made, you know, to fit on an 8.5 by 11 folded in half. And they're a little long, so I can trim them off. And if you notice, I kept everything toward the center decorative wise, so that I could trim them to fit the pages. But usually everything that I do is going to be no more than 8.5 by 11. So I make them this size to go this way, and I also make them this size to go this way, and you can see they're a little long for this book. Same thing, so they can be trimmed on the end. So, and I've got 2 separate styles here. There's these that have the paper flowers, which we're going to do one of those today. And they're just basically little punches to make the flowers with some buttons and little scrappy bits here and there. And this is just a manila file folder that I coffee dyed. So, and they're freshly coffee dyed. These particular ones are, and so my whole studio smells like coffee today, but that's okay. And then the other style, which I thought was really cute, is this. And I can't remember who did these. When I post the video, I'll look it up and I'll post it in the comments. I saw them on Pinterest, and then she does have a YouTube video, and I thought they were really darling. So I will post in the comments her YouTube video as well. But they got just the really teeny little grommets in the paper, and I thought they were cute. So we're going to do one of these too. So let's get started with that. Put these up out of the way. I tried to get as much ready as I could so I wouldn't be taking a ton of time inking and that kind of thing, because I know that's boring to watch, and it's definitely something that seems to take a lot of time. So this one, I kind of went with a blue theme, black and blue, and so there's one of my tea-dyed strips. And they came out really cool. And I'll tell you what I did. I don't know if you guys work in an office or not, but we work where I work. We have one of those bun coffee makers or whatever they are. You know, that you put the big pouches in to make a pot of coffee. Well, I grabbed a couple of those after they had been used and put them in a plastic bag and brought them home. And I tell you what, they are the best for coffee dyeing. All I did was I cut my strips first, and then I took that big thing, coffee filter, full of coffee, and I put a couple of ice cubes on it, and I set it out and let those ice cubes melt, and it made the greatest coffee dyed little strips. Look at these. So if you can get your hands on those big filters at your work or any place that, you know, they make coffee in those big commercial pots, grab them because they're wonderful. And of course they completely dried out, you know, setting out, because all I did was put a couple of ice cubes on them. And now I have them back in a bag, and then I'm storing them, and the next time I get ready to dye something, I'm going to do the same thing because they're completely dry now where, you know, I have them setting out in the sun. So just a little tidbit. Couldn't be happier with the way that turned out. So the first thing we're going to do is, and you can use any kind of paper for this. I'm using some vintage music paper. I'm going to glue it down first, and of course you can use any kind of layers. You know me and my layers. I think everything looks better with layers. So, and again, we're going to work from the middle out so that we can have room to trim these if our journal happens to be shorter than an 8.5 by 11 folded in half. So I'm just going to put, these are scraps of the paper that I used also in the flowers to kind of tie it together. But this is out of my little scrap bin. And so we're going to put that down. And then I have a scrap of my homemade paper. I have a scrap of some lace that I kind of put some antique linen ink on. It's storming here, guys. I don't know if you can hear that thunder. I think we're getting some follow behind from Elsa. So my glue is plugged up. So I'm just going to put this on here. And since this is a belly band and it'll go in the middle of the page, I don't mind that things are going to overhang that, because actually I prefer it. I think it looks better. And of course everything is going to start sticking to my fingers already. And these could not be easier to do. The most time consuming thing with these is punching out the flowers. And I'll show you the punches I used in just a second. Okay, and then I'm going to, this is just cheesecloth that I put a little bit of antique linen on. I'm just going to kind of smoosh it on there. And this is some eyelash trim. And I'm just going to kind of throw it on there. And then this is our flower. And I just kind of squished it up. And what I did to make this flower is the bottom layer is actually the same paper as this. And it's a little bit thicker scrapbook paper. And the reason I did that is because the other two layers are made out of book page and they are more fragile. And so I wanted something on the back that was a little sturdier. So to make this back piece, I used this punch. It's 1.5 inches, and it's just a circle that's got the little scalloped edges on it. And then I made, excuse me while I reach over here, I did one of these in book page, and I did one of these in book page. And then in the center, underneath the button, I did this circle, and again, I did it in the cardstock for the same purpose, to kind of give that book page some strength. Now, you don't have to do a button on this other one that I made. This one that I made, I actually used the circle, poked holes in it, and, you know, did a little stitch there to make it look like a button. And so that's an option as well. And then I'm going to glue this on here, right in the center. And I crinkle up the flower to give it just a little bit of, you don't want to make it too thick, but I like to give it just a little bit of dimension. And that's it. I mean, that is that. And it's cute, and it looks like you spent a lot of time doing something, and you saw how quickly we did that. So, and, you know, you can trim quite a bit. So if you're doing a smaller journal, you know, you can use these and trim them down to fit, and that's why they're good for make-aheads, I think. Okay, so that's that one. We'll set it over here to dry. Okay, this one. This one's a little bit more complicated, but we're going to cruise through it the best we can. This one, same principle. The thing about this one is you're going to have to maybe, I already put it in this one so I could show you, but maybe not do this part until you know what journal you're going to put it in, because obviously if you put those, you know, too close and your journal's this long, then the grommets are going to get cut off. So for these, you probably could do everything except for that part, and then wait and do that part when you decide where it's going. So, for this one, I just picked some papers that I liked. And I'm going to kind of tear them down a little bit. And I'm going to leave this straight because it is a keyboard, but I'm going to kind of tear around this other bit to kind of follow that little pattern. Kind of like that, I think. And then I'm going to put that on the edge. So let's ink those. And on these, because they are coffee dyed, I'm actually using my ground espresso, and I'm actually using the oxide because I want it to be pretty grungy, and I feel like the oxides make it a lot more grungy than the ink does. And you know, all this part is a matter of preference and a matter of, you know, what you're working on. I'm just trying to show you the basics of how to construct it, and you know, what you want to do with it's totally up to you. I have this little piece of sheet music. I'm gonna stick it on here somewhere. Oop, my lights are flickering. That could be not good. If I lose you, I'll come back and finish as soon as I can. And then I got these are Tim Holtz wildflower die cuts. And I cut a couple out. This one is cut out of a piece of, the paper kind of had a pattern to it, but I like that look. So it's kind of a tilly color. I'm gonna put that, something like that. And then I did the same one, and I did it in music paper. So I'm gonna move it a little further down. Now the one thing that you want to remember when you're designing these is when we go to put the strings in, it's going to be tied in the center. So don't put anything to, that's a big part of your design right in the middle, because you're going to have a bow there. That's the only thing, only suggestion that I have for that. I'm wondering, do I maybe want this flower and then the music? Yeah, I may do that so they're not the same. Okay, so let's glue all this down. And this one I'm not going to worry about, not, or going to the edge, because obviously I've kind of set my dimensions on that one by going ahead and putting the grommets in. So it could be cut down a little bit on this end, but it's not going to be able to be cut down much. So we're kind of at where it's going to be. I hope everybody made it through the storm okay. If you lived in a area that was hit by it. I think I told you that my daughter was at the beach. She said that most of their bad weather was overnight, and she said that everyone in the house got woke up around 2 o'clock for a tornado warning. And so they were up from around 2 to 4. But other than that, yesterday she said it was windy and cloudy. But other than that, they were all good. So that was good. They were not in Florida. They were in South Carolina, so. I just love this little metal tip for this kind of thing. There's nothing better. And most of the things that I make ahead, some things I do if I have a particular sentiment I want to use. But most things I don't put my sentiments on if I'm going to use the sentiment until I know what the journal is that I'm working on. So, those are last minute kind of finishing touch type things that I do before I put them in a journal. Okay, so that's that. Now, do I want to do this one too? Well, klutz. I'm having a klutz moment. Yeah, I think I'm going to do that one too. This side's kind of funky. It's got little, like, washers on the back. Must have been some kind of industrial looking paper. It was just a little scrap, so I'm not sure even what set it was from. Okay, so that's that. Now we're going to put the strings in, and I think on this one I want to use black, which I did not bring over here. So if you'll give me just a second, put the top in my glue there, and let me grab it. I'll be right back. It's just right behind me. And I'm going to use embroidery thread for this. And I'm also going to grab a piece of tape to hold it in place. Now remember, this is going to be glued top and bottom, but not in the center, because you want to be able to slide things in and out. And I'm thinking on the video that I watched, she actually put packing tape on the back of hers once she got it finished to secure it and to keep, you know, so you wouldn't hang in the string when you were, I'm sure that's way too much, when you were sliding things in and out. And basically you're just going to kind of loop this around. Did I really just do that? See, this is why I don't sew, people. I can't even put the string in here without making a major disaster. I think I have a huge mental block about it. That's what the deal is. Okay, and then back up. And I already have ink all over me. I don't know. I watch people on their YouTube, and they sit there and do their crafting, and they have beautiful nails, and their hands are all clean, and they're doing the same thing I'm doing. They're gluing and they're inking and they're doing all that stuff, you know, and I'm like, how do they not get stuff all over them? I get stuff all over me. I just can't help it. I really like these little tiny grommets. They're cute. And they are, I found those at Joann's. We are memory maker ones. I think they come in a little plastic box that has 3 or 4 different colors in it. I don't know what size they are off the top of my head. They're the smallest ones that fit, you know, when you flip your crocodile over to the other little pointy out thing. Okay, and I'm just going to tie a knot here on the back. And trim these pretty short. And I have not taped mine, but I could see where you would probably want to, so that you're not catching that, because I would think every time you go to slide something in there, it's going to catch. All right, and then we need one more piece to tie our bow. And you could probably leave it straight too if you like that. Actually, on the one that I did, this one, which is, you know, kind of jazz themed, the guy's, you know, playing the trumpet here. That would have been kind of cute to leave it straight, because it kind of looks like guitar strings, doesn't it? Just go under here. And keep it flattened out. And just tie a bow. Maybe tie a bow. Do an awful job at tying a bow. Really pathetic. Okay, there we go. And let's trim that off a little bit and see my strings. And that's one thing, embroidery thread's probably not the best choice for this, but it's the only thing that I really have that's in different colors. My, like my binding string or whatever, I have brown and I have white, so neither of which really would have gone too well with this. And I guess you could use that really, really small ribbon too, that little 1/4 inch ribbon or whatever it is that's really thin. All right, and then we're gonna put our butterfly down here, I think. And I'm gonna use some foam tape. Foam tape, my best friend. And this is the Tim Holtz butterfly. I did cut a lot of the white off because I think the white border is too wide on these. And I also cut off the antennae because they had so much white. And I'm going to take my little pen and just kind of draw them back on. There we go. All right, so there we go. There's 2 different belly bands. And I also have belly bands, or when I do my master boards, I always cut a couple belly bands out of those as well and then embellish them. So they're more like a collaged type belly band with some embellishments. So, that's it, guys. Easy peasy. So, I hope you all will try these. They're a lot of fun. These, the most tedious thing for these, of course, is doing the grommets, but it's not bad. And then on these, the most tedious thing is cutting out the flowers, but then again, that's not bad either. What I did is I actually punched out a bunch all at the same time, and I've got a little envelope full of them, and then I went through and assembled them all except for the, you know, whatever button I was going to use. And you could probably do the buttons too. I mean, you know, at some point you're going to use about every color of button that you could have. Or you could just simply do them all with a white button or an off-white button, and it would go with anything, you know, keep it really neutral. But belly bands, that's it. Pretty simple. And like I said, some of the other things that we haven't done yet, I will put those on the list. I'm really wanting to do a couple of things. One thing that I saw on Rachel's Roxy Creations page, she made some envelopes using her postcards, and I did purchase her postcards and have them cut out, and so I want to do some of those. And I also found some really cute button card printable, and I want to print some of those and put some buttons on them, and that will also be kind of a tuck in my journals, because it's just a, you know, it's about a playing card size card, and I think it'll make a real cute little tuck. So that's it. I hope everybody has a good weekend, and I am going to keep mask making and build up my stock, and hopefully knock out some of these journals that I've got that are not finished yet. And if you're a subscriber, thank you so much. I do appreciate the support. And if you're not, please subscribe. We're going to have lots of fun doing different tutorials. And if there's something that you would like to see, please let me know in the comments as well. And if you could give a big thumbs up to the video, that helps me out, and I would appreciate it greatly. And until we see each other again, which you won't see me, you'll see my inky hands. But I hope everybody stays safe and stays healthy, and we'll see you next time. Bye.